The key to godly living is to truly know the God before whose face we live. Psalm 99 interweaves a call to godliness with a rich description of who God is. First, God reigns. Verse 1 and 2 says this, "The Lord reigns, he sits enthroned upon the cherubim. The Lord is great in Zion. He is exalted over all the peoples." There's no one above the Lord. He does everything he wants. He cannot be frustrated. He cannot fail. Second, God is just. The king in his might loves justice. Verse 4 says, "You have established equity. You've executed justice and righteousness in Jacob." Even human leaders are not always just or good, but God always is. Third, God is holy. Verse 3, verse 5, and the conclusion in verse 9. Natural religion tries to draw God down to earth, making him common. But God is holy. He's approachable not because he's like us, but because he has made us in his image and humbled himself in the person of Christ. Fourth, God cares, verses 6 and 7. The majestic, just, and holy God answered his people. The psalm writer gives the example of Moses, Aaron, and Samuel who called on him, and the Lord answered and helped them. Likewise, God will work out all things for your good if you love him and are called according to his purpose, as Romans 8:28 says. So what must we do with what we know about God? The psalm presents at least 5 calls to action. First, respect God. Because of God's majesty, people should tremble before him. The earth should shake, verse 1 says. He's worthy of total reverence. Second, worship God. The complementary words praise and worship used in this psalm call for verbal acknowledgement of who God is and total submission before his majesty. Third, exalt God, verse 5 and verse 9. The worshiper bows down, but the exalter raises God in thoughts and words and actions. We take the posture of John the Baptist toward Christ. He must increase, I must decrease. Fourth, obey God. The writer says this in verse 7, "Our fathers kept his testimonies and the statute that he gave them." Obedience seems unimportant to those who do not know God's greatness. But to those who know the Lord, obedience should be a matter of course. Fifth, and complementary to the previous point, repent before God. The sovereign, just, and holy God is willing to forgive. Verse 8 says, "We all sin, and we can't make it up to God. What could we offer the one enthroned upon the cherubim, as he is described in this psalm? But we can ask him to forgive us on account of Jesus' sacrifice, and he will." We were made to be like God, imitating his knowledge, his righteousness, his holiness. To do that, we need to know him. If you know God, you have everything you need to live faithfully before his face. This is Psalm 99. "The Lord reigns. Let the peoples tremble. He sits enthroned upon the cherubim. Let the earth quake. The Lord is great in Zion. He is exalted over all the peoples. Let them praise your great and awesome name. Holy is he. The king in his might loves justice. You have established equity. You have executed justice and righteousness in Jacob. Exalt the Lord our God. Worship at his footstool. Holy is he. Moses and Aaron were among his priests. Samuel also was among those who called upon his name. They called to him, and he answered them. In the pillar of the cloud he spoke to them. They kept his testimonies and the statute that he gave them. O Lord our God, you answered them. You were a forgiving God to them, but an avenger of their wrongdoings. Exalt the Lord our God, and worship at his holy mountain, for the Lord our God is holy."